going to make you guys wait a minute for me to talk. My goodness. I'm just trying to avoid, getting the copyright. I need to make a new intro. Not that the intro is a big deal. Intros are annoying. Waiting on the commercial, waiting on the theme song to play. There's got to be a better way to do all this. Anyway, what's up, everyone? My name is Joshua T. Berglan. Hopefully you know that because you're on my page. Oh, I don't say that with these videos. Never mind. Anyway, welcome to Spoken Word Live. My name is Joshua T. Berglan. I know I just said that, but it helps me get back in the rhythm of what I was saying when I get to reintroduce myself. I am the founder and the creator of the World's Mayor Experience platform, where you can find all kinds of interesting content, articles, books, movies, services, tons of educational resources. Under books and resources is a treasure trove of, free resources for all of you. Not here to sell anything, even though there's plenty of things to buy on my website. I'm not using this live stream to sell anything or even really promote anything, except for what's on my heart. I'm going to promote that. Yesterday I did a live and I deleted it. I don't think I've ever done that before. It felt good to do that live and say all the things that I said, and then I deleted it after I said it because I realized that 95% of what I said would be taken completely out of context. And for those who did see it, I don't apologize for anything I said. I just realized that it would be completely taken out of context because I used a lot of language that most people don't understand. And I am already misunderstood enough. And I realized that, you know what? I probably let my emotion get the best of me. No, that's not true. It's not that I let it get the best of me. It's that I didn't want to be misunderstood. And one of the things that I am working on is even speaking from the heart, not letting so much emotion get into what I say that it causes what I'm saying to be misunderstood. Because in the end, I am all for the people. I am all for people having the opportunity to step into the purpose that they were created for by our Creator. To me, our Creator is way bigger than any religion that man can create. And so I want to create a space for all, not in the bucket or box of religion. And so just to be transparent, I trashed religion really, really hard yesterday. And I went after really hard people who choose political parties. I called people a lot of names that, a lot of names. I said, I did a name calling, nothing major, nothing offensive. But I basically called anyone that was choosing to put themselves in a box, a man-made box, an idiot, for lack of better words. That's sugarcoating a little bit of what I said. But yeah, I kind of spent 40 minutes going off on everybody that was choosing to put themselves in a box to separate them from really their true identity. So while some would have understood it and got the message and felt the heart behind it, I think most of the world would have taken offense and thought that I was some kind of, crazy person that wanted to see everyone die. And that's not the truth at all. I want to see people live. I want to see people die to themselves and quit being selfish and narcissistic. And again, I believe we all have a little bit of narcissism in us, but the more empathy we have in our life, the further away from narcissism we get. And obviously I spent a lot of time on that in a different episode, and that was even taken out of context. And people don't like being called narcissist, especially narcissist. But I still stand by the statement. I think we're all narcissists until we learn empathy and we exercise empathy. And the more empathetic we become, the further from a narcissist we become. And some of us are able to heal are able to do the work to become more empathetic. And now that I'm on this subject of empathy, and who knows where this word's going to go. I don't know if empathy is even in this, but I mean, learning empathy was a journey for me, because right when I surrendered my life, over 10 years ago now, I wasn't empathetic. Like, I didn't feel, at least to the level that I do now. But I think that, every time I thought that I was learning empathy, there was levels to it, kind of like there's levels to truth. But one of the levels to empathy that I was learning, it took me being around and involved in other people's lives because I, for so long, was isolated in a different way than I spend my life now. But it took me being in relationship with other people, and my involvement in helping raise children, and being in a different relationship, and I learned empathy in that time, where in other relationships I hadn't. But I was kind of allowed this room to be in my full narcissistic glory. But when my heart changed, because God working on me and working on my heart, that started to change. And so I was able to start showing up in relationships differently, but at the same time realizing that I had so much to learn. And then after leaving that relationship, really getting to see more areas that I get to work on myself. But part of learning the empathy that I needed to learn was having to learn how to be hurt. Because I've never been hurt before without retaliating in some way of like, well, you hurt me, I'm going to hurt you way worse. Like, learning to be hurt and not hurt back was a big step in my empathetic journey, or learning empathy journey. I don't know what the proper term for that is, but I think you get my point. Like, I needed to be heartbroken. I needed to feel what loss was like. And those of you who don't know my journey know, or don't know, that before the tremors, which, by the way, are doing so much better, the tremors that I've had since January of 24, like that, wow, just my brain just skipped out. That's really embarrassing, especially when you do that live on video. Oh, I know what I was saying. Sorry. Maybe. So the thing that I had dissociative identity disorder before the tremors started. And with DID, I would disassociate every time I was sad, every time I was angry, every time I was horny, every time I was super happy. Like, I couldn't get too euphoric because I would disassociate. So anytime I would feel or start to feel pain or something that was unsettling, I would disassociate. So I never really experienced it. I never really experienced the side effects or the consequences of the pain that I would cause others. Have you ever been in a situation or a relationship with somebody and, they hurt you? They hurt you. And then you get upset and you maybe break up or ask for distance or you ask for space, something like that. But then that person that hurt you does everything to get you back. Oh, I'll do anything. I'll do anything. I'll go to counseling. I'll go to church with you. I'll do Bible study with you. I'll pray with you. I'll bathe. I'll shave your back hair, whatever. Anyway, the person does love bombs you to death, apologizes you to death. And you go, okay, all right, okay, I forgive you, and then take you back, and everything's better. But then that person that hurt you, the minute the person that was hurt starts to go, maybe shows a lack of trust, or maybe they're not feeling so safe like they used to. But then that person that hurts you then attacks you because you might have a little bit of doubt or you're questioning. And they're like, but I thought you forgave me. And they just basically pretend that nothing happened. Or have you ever been gaslit to the point where they just pretend that nothing happened? That's a bad feeling. That's a bad feeling. But the flip side of that is, I know in my own experience of doing that to people is because I didn't really feel the consequences of the actions that I made. So I hurt somebody, I cheated on somebody, I physically hurt them, I did whatever. But like, I never was around emotionally long enough to actually understand what it is that I did. So it made it very, very hard to really learn from my mistakes. So in God's infinite wisdom, made it where I would develop a tremor where I stopped disassociating and then get to go through the heartbreak and the heartache and the pain and the sadness and the depression and the confusion and the isolation and everything else. And I get to feel it for the first time in my life. I get to sit in it for the first time in my life. So I got to experience what it was like to be heartbroken, to be sad, to be lonely, to be depressed, to have a black cloud that doesn't go away for weeks, months at a time. I hated it. I hated it. I hated it so much. Yet at the same time, now looking back at it, this capacity that I have to love now, the awareness that I have of, like, well, maybe I don't need to say those things, which I exercise by, again, I did a live yesterday, I deleted. So I'm not perfect at this. But my desire, like in that time of not disassociating and being in isolation with the tremors that I was having, reminds me of the people on TikTok that try to say that I have demons because they see my head tremor from time to time. It's so weird. I just lost my train of thought. Squirrel. Like learning to have to sit, or having to learn how to sit in those feelings and emotions. I'm like, okay, well, I don't like that, God. So how am I going to not have to experience this again? And so I had to start asking myself questions. Well, okay, because even though I can blame the tremors for why certain things happened, I can, but it also forced me to have to look at the areas of my life where I was falling short. Like where I wasn't showing up the way that I was supposed to show up, whether it was with my family, with relationships with friends, because it was beyond the loss that I was experiencing really for the first, and feeling for the first time, was the things that my heart wanted to do, but I couldn't now. Like, and it was exposing what I wasn't a good steward of. And also where putting my focus, like how focus, I mean, it was really also being a very, very revealing part of where I put my focus. You know, my attention, my energy will go there. So like if I'm distracted with something that doesn't really serve me or the people I'm with, then, you know, there can be consequences for that. And so it allowed me, and I'm grateful for the time. I'm grateful that I stopped disassociating. I mean, there's so many reasons why I'm grateful for the tremors that I have, but ultimately it's because of the reflecting that it's caused me to do, and it taught me the joy in suffering, which has made life way more enjoyable, because I quit looking at every bad thing that happened as something that was meant to hurt me. It changed my whole relationship with God. It allowed me to trust God more. Because if you can trust God while you're suffering, instead of like going, oh, it's the lifeline, like, oh, come rescue me now that I'm suffering. No, I'm not talking about that. Because if you ever ask God to refine you, to make you perfect, or to make you the person that you were created to be, there's going to be some hardcore refinement that comes. Because I believe that if you ask God for that prayer, if you pray that prayer, create me, turn, turn me into, refine me, and make me who I was created to be. Oosh. I mean, that's ballsy. That's like saying, take my life, it's yours. My life is no longer my own. That is a ballsy prayer. You know why? Because I believe God takes those prayers seriously. And then you will be used accordingly. And if you really want to be healed, then maybe you have to go through some really painful things to heal. I know I did. I'm not saying that will be for you, but I mean, if life is a paradox and to live you must die to ourselves, I think about all the blessings in my life. Most of them that most of the blessings I really appreciate came through the most excruciating, miserable pain of my life. The things that came easy, I didn't appreciate any of it. Like, oh, thanks, I appreciate it. But when I've had to go through the fire for it, I appreciate it. And that's everything. Like, what's the point of like making our dreams come true wouldn't mean anything if it was easy. Doing the work to become the man or the woman or however you identify, doing the work to become what you were created to be, being who you were created to be, being who we were created to be, wouldn't have really any power or meaning to it. It wouldn't feel special. They're just almost like, what would it really feel like to know in my heart that the blessing is in the breaking, to know that the blessing is going to come through the trials and the pain and the suffering. It makes the suffering more enjoyable. I don't think it ever really becomes easy, but to me, it makes it easier to be motivated in the face of adversity, because it's like, I know I'm conquered to win, or I know I'm created to win. I'm created to overcome these obstacles in my path. Heck, half the obstacles in my path are the obstacles I created for the path. I mean, I think about in my life how much easier I could have made things on myself, but no, I had to make it more challenging by not saying no to those drugs or whatever the case may have been. Like, maybe staying up for another day is a good idea. No, typically not. I'm so glad that I love sleep now. I've seen too many sunrises in my day. I've seen too many sunrises and don't remember any of it. I'm grateful for hardship. I'm grateful for suffering. I'm grateful for all of the failed relationships that I've had. And while I wish that I could have figured out things sooner because there would have been a lot less people hurt, it's hard to look at my life now and go, I would do anything different. Which I don't say that to be insensitive. I just say that really out of gratitude for what my life has become because of the trials and the tribulations. You know, one of my favorite things that one of the lessons that I am most grateful for is when I became public about some of the reasons I'd been in jail, and public through my book and other interviews and even my own talk shows about my past and the kind of person that I was. And I became fully transparent and I quit hiding it. You know, I had a lot of people that disappeared out of my life. They were scared. They didn't want to be associated with me. But over the years, through doing my talk shows and getting to interview hundreds of different women and other men that had gone through similar things, or I would be interviewing a woman and she's sharing a story. This is what I'm grateful for. The stories that I was hearing from women that just as easily could have been one of my exes. Hearing those stories of how the cheating, the abuse, the gaslighting, the lying, the deception, hearing how that affected them. I mean, it's like getting to face, for me, it was like getting to face my accuser, but actually I'll say victim. I'll say victim because no one deserved any of the things that I had done. But getting to hear hundreds and hundreds of different women, and I say hundreds because I've done that many interviews, to hear their stories had an impact on me. I think it contributed to helping me become a good father, but ultimately aided in my rehabilitation to become a more empathetic person, to not want to cause anyone that kind of pain again. But then also having then learned what it felt like on my own end to experience that was transformative, because it inspired me to start showing up better, not just for other people, but then eventually what has become my girlfriend. But also it's more than that. It's with friends, it's with family, strangers. It's helped me become more present and focused and heart-centered, to help remove my ego. I'm grateful for that. All right, let's draw the word. I may have to change the name of the show if I just keep talking for 20 minutes before I do the word. I can't see the chat, by the way. Still can't. What's the last word of the week going to be? Trauma. It's like magic, I'm telling you, drawing these words. I've been talking about trauma this whole time. Maybe I'm going to have to rethink how I do the drawings now. Because I talked for 20 minutes essentially about trauma, and it's what I would have talked about. But you know what? No. Okay, this is what I'm going to say. Every single one of us go through trauma. We all go through traumatic events. Heck, I would say the whole world has been given PTSD by what's happened over the last 5 years. The gaslighting, the lying, the deception, the trustworthy news sources that we go to get our information, they're lying and gaslighting to us. Our favorite influencers and celebrities are lying to us and gaslighting us. Our churches are gaslighting and lying to us. Our government and our politicians are gaslighting and lying to us. The people in our life are lying and gaslighting to us. And by the way, they may not even know they're doing it. That's how bad the trauma has gotten. We have all been affected by it in some way. Our children have been traumatized. What they've grown up in, the world that they've grown up in, the world that they've seen. We're traumatizing each other. I mean, think about the families that were separated over body autonomy. I knew I was going to say that word wrong. I'm going to embarrass myself if I try to publicly say it. Dad, or not publicly, if I try to work out the spelling. Autonomy? Autonomous? Have mercy. Just say the word. Body autonomy. Autonomy. So autonomous. I mean, basically, people that chose to do the jab and those who wouldn't do it, families fighting over that and separating, people fighting over the political party. How many of y'all got hoodwinked there? Not only did they prop up a guy that was half dead and put out 6 different versions of him for the public to see, and somehow no one noticed that he looked different and was probably a clone and a body double. And oh, by the way, the current guy in office has probably got about 4 or 5 different versions of him too. And yet, then he runs on, oh, Epstein, we're going to release the files and blah, blah, blah. And then no, now everyone, and there's people that still are supporting this, and there's genocide happening all over the world. And it's like everyone, like people are blaming others for the things that they're actually doing. It's such a mind F. Like, we're all traumatized. And it makes me sad because I can see it through the lens that I see it. I'm watching people fight, and it's like and they're fighting each other, but they don't see the strings attached to them. Like the mariachi, is it mariachi? The puppeteer? The puppeteers are making people hate each other because of using the media as a weapon. I'm passionate about media because we have the same power. The same technology that the big media companies use, we have access to. Part of why I'm passionate about media is because we have the power to control our own part of the narrative with our own stories. I'm inspired by seeing people say, you know what, I'm not gonna consume the news. I'm gonna be the news. I'm gonna share good news. I'm going to share my story. I'm going to share my testimony. I'm going to share the things that I've learned. I can share what I can prove to be absolutely true. Truth is a superpower. Truth is healing. Truth will break people in half, but it'll also set people free. The blessing is in the breaking. I'm passionate about media to amplify the truth through our stories. Not our opinions, not rehashing a meme and regurgitating the talking points that come through all the other media sources. That doesn't serve anyone. I mean, heck, even the reports on war. I mean, half of it is not even remotely true. More than half of it's probably AI generated. I mean, I have the gift of seeing, right? And I'm not flexing on my gifts because everyone has gifts. Everyone does. Everyone has gifts. Some people choose to use them, some don't. But we're all given gifts. Every one of us. But what good does it, like, I love having the gift of vision and being able to see, but I mean, I think about the last few years, I've been trying to tell people about what's to come. And to be honest, it hasn't really done anything, even though what I've said was going to come has happened and happening. The very things I got kicked off the internet for are happening. Nothing's been different. But what did it do? Nothing. Me telling people the future, how to prepare for it, really meant nothing in the grand scheme of things. Wrote multiple books on it. Sure, it's going to come into benefit for people, and it has come into benefit for people, but as far as impact, you talk about trauma, it's been traumatizing how little impact it's had. It's helped me. It's helped the students that I've had. But as far as the impact that I have set out to make, telling the future hasn't had any impact because very few people actually took committed action. It doesn't devalue what it is that I'm teaching. It just means that what matters is today. Like, talking about the future is one thing, but none of us are God. So let's talk about the present moment. What's true now? What's real now? What's on my heart now? What's on your heart now? These are the stories that people need to hear. Opinions are just dirty buttholes. I'm not going to expand on that. Probably shouldn't have even said that. The only way to heal from the trauma that we've all been going through is to tell the truth. That carries over too, because going back to what I was talking about before, when all this started with the relationship stuff and the healing journey and all of that and learning empathy, it gets down to the fact that truth is spoken. The reason have been able to heal past relationships, the wounds of past relationships with most of my exes, is because of the truth. Because if I was still lying or denying the things that I did or gaslighting, then there would be no opportunity for healing. There's a saying in the gospel, I don't know the exact word for word, but people talk about the truth will set you free. In the Gospel of Thomas, which is an amazing book, it's also hard to understand. It's kind of one of those things that you definitely need help because some of the interpretations are really rough. But that said, the Gospel of Thomas is really a powerful book. And at the very, very beginning of it, talks about how, seek the truth relentlessly. But when you find the truth, it's going to break you in half. It's going to destroy you. It's going to wreck you. Then you'll be set free. And then you will rule all over the world, or rule the world. And I just simplified the crap out of that verse, or that saying. But it's true. The more truth, like the real truth I discover, the more like it just breaks me open. But then I'm free. Like, learning everything that I've been taught growing up is pretty much a lie. It was hard to accept at first. But now it's freedom. Freedom to allow me to not get caught up in this day in, day out crap that happens because of the media. We have this opportunity using media to take control of the narrative as a collective, but instead of adding more opinions to the news feeds, we can start adding more truth through our testimonies and our stories through the news feeds. That is how we heal from the trauma of this world. This truth. The truth will break people in half and heal us. There's a Japanese pot. I don't have my phone around me. Shoot. The Japanese pot. I think it's a Japanese pot that's broken, and then they put it back together, and then it's stronger. Maybe I should just look this up. Hold on. Bear with me. What's the name of the Japanese pot that is broken into pieces? Yep, here it is. Kintsugi, which translate to golden joinery. This is fun. This is why I need a producer to feed this stuff to me. That way I don't have to look it up while I'm talking to you. Yeah. Kintsugi. It's like a kintsugi pot. So the truth is going to break you into millions of pieces, but then you're going to come together like a kintsugi pot. Look it up. Being broken is not a bad thing. A lot of people I hear are like, I'm broken. I guess there's different types of being broken. Because there's the type of broken of, I'm going to stay broken. And then there's the broken of kintsugi. Be kintsugi broken. You know? It's what I love about having a personal relationship with God, is that all the things that were broken inside of me got to heal and come back stronger, to be pieced back together stronger. And that doesn't happen without truth, and that doesn't happen without empathy. And as painful as all of those lessons to learn as an adult were and have been, it's also been what's led to me having the happiest moments of my life and experiencing love again, like a real pure love, without attachment, to heal from insecurities, to heal from emotional triggers, past traumas. It's all happened with truth. Even being willing to be honest about, like, look, I'm immature in this area of my life. Let's work on it together. Like, even being able to be honest about that has created a space for healing. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and see you in a few days. Thanks.